I've got a very fast gimmicky segment for you.
Let me hear it.
I'm going to set up something that's happening currently in the NBA.
Okay.
It's currently happening.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you, you're going to determine whether it is just a tiny trend that will pass or it's the new normal.
I like this game.
And we're going to go quickly.
Okay.
Like a manual.
I will answer quickly.
Doncic, still out. Derek Lively, out for an extended period of time. They get Kleber back. He's out again. Mavs season is cursed by injuries and going nowhere. Tiny trend or the new normal?
Right now, as of this morning, they are tied, though, behind Phoenix.
For the 8th spot.
Yeah. They are half a game up on Sac, 2 games up on Golden State.
Tiny trend or new normal?
Boy, I hate that these are my only 2 choices, but I'm going to say tiny trend.
I'm going new normal.
No, I'm going to say tiny trend because I think post All-Star break, you have time. And we saw that team go bananas after the All-Star break. And so what my consideration would be is that you will get Luka Doncic back. You will have him for that stretch run for those last, whatever it is, 30 games. And that will be enough to have a good enough record to once you get into the. And again, if they're 8, that is an absolute nightmare scenario for Oklahoma City.
Oh yeah, it's not.
That is a nightmare. Yeah. And so you just have to beat a 10. And assuming that they get Luka back, I think they will have a good enough record to be in the play-in. Again, a play-in team you would not want to see.
I will say, I'm going to disagree say it's the new normal because I see it like this. It is more likely that they deal with more injuries than it is that Lively comes back and plays the rest of the season. Luka comes back and plays the rest of the season. Kyrie's bulging disc in his back is all of a sudden better. Kleber's all of a sudden better. Like it's just more likely. They feel kind of like the 49ers last year in football where it's like good team, prior success, injury-riddled season this year, just throw it out.
Well, and if they don't get it, look, if they didn't, I do fear that it wouldn't even be if they can't get Lively back by the time it would be time for a play-in situation or whatever. But I think right now, I would say your most likely scenario is that they're in one of the play-in games, and then at that point, you still have Luka Doncic on your team.
Keeping it moving here.
I'm not gonna bury him yet.
Steph Curry was 0 for 8 in the second half in the loss against the Lakers from 3. The Warriors are outside of the playoffs, and this core looks like it will never compete for a championship again. Tiny trend or the new normal?
Oh, that's been the new normal.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, that one's easy. That one's easy. I mean, unless you made some kind of this core, which you're just talking about Steph and Draymond.
And Steph, and Steve.
No,
Curry,
in the absence of them adding an awesome player, which I would not take out of consideration.
No, but they almost need someone to be like a 1B to Steph.
Correct.
They don't need like a second scorer like Andrew Wiggins.
But I have been on this thing where they say like, well, we don't want to sacrifice the future, and I say, what future? Like, again, if you're not going to pay Kuminga, you move Kuminga within these next couple of weeks, and if you can move Kuminga and you can get somebody that is like that 1B, I mean, that's what I would not decide cannot compete. If you were able to get one other big-time player.
Who's that, though? Levine? Butler?
If you got one of those 2 guys.
Still not competing for a championship, in my opinion.
Okay.
Moving on. Mac McClung is officially going for a 3-peat in the dunk contest. He'll be up against Andre Jackson Jr., Stephen Castle, and Buzelis. It's okay. Here we go. No stars in the dunk contest. What? Tiny trender, new normal.
Oh, that's been the new normal. And look, I'm a Mac McClung fan. I love watching Mac McClung dunk. How does it do us any good to have a guy that does not play in the NBA winning it every year?
Every year. My thing is this.
Bro, why don't you just, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's fine. But that guy, the guy that I love on Instagram, Lethal Shooter.
Oh, yeah.
Now you understand.
Yeah.
Right? That guy. Stop playing with me. This guy. Why don't you just have him Put him in the 3-point contest.
Sure.
Put Lethal Shooter in the 3-point
or like
contest.
Team Flight Brothers or whatever. Like just professional dunkers that do nothing. They don't play basketball. They just dunk in front of crowds. I'm sure they could do it. My thing is this, I don't think the dunk contest is done and buried because I remember the Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine dunk contest.
It's a long time ago now,
No,
though.
it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
It was, I'm going to say
Chicago,
9 years
right?
ago, 8 years ago.
That was a long time ago. That's a long time,
good.
Jacoby.
It was so good. That was one of the best of my lifetime.
Amazing.
And it was in this new era of sort of like young leapers being a part of it, not all-stars. And I loved that dunk contest. That was one of the best of my life.
Maybe Stephon Castle and Matas Buzelis can save it.
Okay.
You don't believe so?
No. Seems like every time SGA takes the lead in the MVP race, Jokic does something crazy and have like 35, 22, and 17. The race is too tight to call, and anyone who is leading one way or the other is a fool. Tiny trend or the new normal?
No, that's tiny trend. Tiny trend. In the end, as I've told you, I might end up being wrong about it being unanimous, but I do think that, look, anybody, and Bontemps will be sending out, I'm sure, a straw poll pretty soon. I think every single person that responds to that is going to have SGA number one. I do.
Really?
I don't know if at the end that will be the case.
Oh, I'd see.
There will probably be
you
one
are
person
so
in there.
delusioned on
No,
this.
that's not true.
So say this again out loud because this is there's a piece of metal in front of your mic.
Watch what I say.
It's in front of your mouth, and it records what you say.
I do
and
not
It
think
goes digitally onto a server, so then you can reference it later in life.
I'm telling you,
You're
I'm part of the Bontemps thing.
The straw poll will be unanimous. Not a single person will try to outthink the room.
Correct.
And put Jokic on there.
Now, again, it would be much more likely for that to be the case in the straw poll than in the actual when it comes down to the very end. But one guy already has 3 and is on not as good a team. And
but
the
he's
other
playing better than he did in all the seasons in which he had 3.
It's already the narrative, and they're in first place. Okay, how about this, Jacoby? If I passed it off to you and I said, you know what, I can't do this Bontemps thing. You do it. You would have SGA 1.
Yeah,
you would.
I would.
So would everybody. So
but
why
not
do you
everyone
act like
else.
everybody
but not
else
everyone else would, because there's always some asshole that tries to outthink the room that is like, all of you people are wrong. I am the true basketball knowledge man.
I have said,
and I am the one who knows that Nikola Jokic. You're trying to tell me you can't make a good case.
I've said that might be so. I said in the end, what I think is when the straw poll comes out, I think all of the first place votes will be SGA. I think everybody will have him number 1.
Okay. Next. People complaining that NBA teams are taking too many threes and it's ruining the game. Tiny trend, or is this the new normal?
Tiny trend for people complaining about it.
I say tiny trend as well.
People complaining about it. We were at that game last night, and there was never a moment where you thought, wow, there's way too many threes being taken. No.
And they're taking open ones. No. Like, you can pick and choose.
You know what that is? You know what it is? I've thought about this a lot.
Oh.
The league always changes based upon who wins.
Yeah.
It is a Celtics thing.
Yes.
It is. And the Celtics are on TV all the time. And you can tune it in, and they're taking 50.
They spam the three-point line. They do, but they've got the horses to do it.
And also, then, like, look, we talked earlier about Amen Thompson and whatever. Like, yeah, Dylan Brooks hit a ton last night, right? But that's not their game.
No.
Right? That's not their game.
The Thunder don't take a bunch of threes.
Right. So I think part of it is the team that won. So we saw them for every round and we saw them win. And then the other thing is you can't get outscored by 35 points at the 3-point line. So what ends up happening is Celtics on TV the most or a lot because they won the title. They're a very popular team. They take 50-something threes. I can't lose by 30-something points at the 3-point line. Therefore, their opponents are generally going to take more threes, you would think, right? I would have to do all the stats to bear this out. But then those games feature a tremendous amount of 3-point shots. And so it's really more about some of the biggest teams, including the reigning world champion, than it is league-wide. For sure.
Look at the Western Conference. The Thunder, don't take that many threes. Rockets, don't take that many threes. Grizzlies, they take some threes.
They take threes.
They're not crazy. The Nuggets don't take that many threes. And we're going down. Remember the 5 spot, Lakers. They're not bombing threes.
No, this is truly
The Clippers, they're not bombing threes. The Timberwolves, yeah. Anthony Edwards is shooting as many threes as he literally possibly
but the rest
can.
of that team doesn't.
It's not. I had this argument with my friend Mike after our rec league basketball game on Wednesday, and he comes to me. He's like, "They're taking too many threes. They're ruining basketball." And my takeaway from that conversation was, and I respect him so much. He knows a ton about basketball. He loves the league. Is my takeaway from that is what I call a snowball opinion that just gathers more and more people as it goes down the mountain.
That's right.
And gets bigger and bigger. But I don't think it's actually happening on the screen when I watch games.
Well,
I can see clips on the internet where it's like, 5 threes in a row. That looks bad. But when I'm watching NBA games every night, I'm not watching it being like, they take too many threes. It doesn't cross my mind.
Right.
It doesn't. I think this is all fake.
I don't know if it's all fake. I would say most of these teams are very smart about. They know that the numbers tell you want to tray it up or lay it up, right? That your most efficient shots are going to be at the rim and they are going to be at the 3-point line. And so you still see a lot of drive a kick, drive a kick, drive a kick, drive a kick, paint touch, kick it out to a 3.
Of course.
There's a lot of guys that do pass up the 4-foot shot to throw it back out to the 3-point line.
Or a lot of spray to the 3-point line on the break. Old guys hate that. If you're over 40 and you see someone spray to the 3-point line on a transition possession,
to me,
you're mad. You're so mad.
To me, that is more of it. To me, it is more of, it's not as much about the number of threes, it's about the similarity of style of play.
Yes.
That there's also not as many, because these teams all have entire offices of statistical analysts, and you are now taking players and turning them into players that do one of these two things. Do you get to the rim or do you knock down corner threes? And if you can't space the floor by being able to shoot threes, it's very hard to get on the court anymore.
Yeah, you better be Giannis Antetokounmpo.
You have to be exceptional at doing other things. But And so I do think that will evolve. There will become a different, market inefficiency. But for right now, there has been, because of the statistical revolution that has taken place within the NBA, you do have too many teams playing similarly. That's what I would say.
I just think sometimes I feel bad for the commissioner, Silver, when he has to go there and be like, we're looking into it.
Yeah.
We're going to make some changes. I'm like, bro, you know what I would say? We're monitoring it. We think we have a great product. We're monitoring it.
The other thing, and I do think this is totally fair, they run old games on NBA TV all the time. Like, your memory fails you.
Yes. It was not Joga Benito in 1992.
Your memory
It was not
fails
the beautiful game. They're not whipping the ball around.
Your memory fails you.
It's how many Dale Davis post-ups do you want to see?
I mean, there are 4 guys standing in the lane.
Yeah. And like the most popular shot is like a 10-foot baseline jumper.
Right.
Is that what you want to see?
And with a lot of bricks.
Yeah. All right, moving on. The Super Bowl coverage for the next 2 weeks will have heavy doses of Taylor Swift. The Taylor Swift takeover, tiny trend or new normal?
What are you talking about? Like, it's been the new normal for 5 years. That's a terrible question.
The idea that
what are you talking about?
Swift. The idea that Taylor Swift is like the 3rd most important figure in this Super Bowl is just insane to me.
My daughter asked to go.
To the game?
No, tickets. I'm saying to one of her concerts.
Oh.
This last tour. It was like $2,500 for the upper deck.
Bro, I'm a huge Olivia Rodrigo guy, thanks to my 2 9-year-old twins.
$2,500
I love Olivia
deck?
Rodrigo. To me, to take my 2 twins to see Olivia Rodrigo is like $10,000. And those aren't even good seats.
And you got to get the Knicks app.
Then you got to get the Knicks app.
Or you can't get it.
They won't even let you in the building without the Knicks app. Do you know how many 14-year-old girls are going to be so pissed when they're going to be all dressed up in their clothes and they've got face tattoos and they've been listening on the car ride to all their favorite Taylor songs and they get right up to that same gate and that same guy is there and he's like, You gotta get the Knicks app. They're like, the Knicks? I don't even know what the Knicks are. I drove from Pennsylvania.
And Dad's not there, so now Mom just took the girls.
Mom has no idea. Mom doesn't even know the Ticketmaster login.
My wife would have never gotten into that game last night.
So then what happens
She'd have been like,
then the mom starts to call the dad, but the dad's got the night off without the kids and the wife. So he's at the bar watching the Grizzlies get beaten by the Knicks on the road because Taylor took over the Garden, and he's not even answering his phone, and then they don't even get to see Taylor Swift, and this costs $9,000.
Sorry, dude. The Madison Square Garden way too small for Taylor Swift.
Oh, she plays the Garden.
She's over at MetLife, bro.
She plays the Garden.
No, she's in stadiums now.
You're right. Wow, she doesn't even do arenas.
MetLife.
Wow. All right, so I guess you don't need the Knicks app. Good news.
$2,500 is
bad news.
The upper deck.
You still can't afford it. Good news.
You
don't need the Knicks app.
The Jets
Giants app. You need the Jets app. The Jets can't afford an app. They can't afford an app. Verno, so good to see you in person, buddy.
Oh man, it was great to be in New York City outside of the game.
I'm coming to Memphis.
F. Miles
I'm coming
McBride,
to Memphis next.
F. Tyler Okolik.
Don't forget Bridges.
F. Miles
Precious.
Mikal Bridges.
Precious hit a 3.
Oh my God.
What a game.
What a game indeed.
What a game.
What a game. I promise you this. I'll never forget it.
Do you know what I love? just the end of this podcast, I just want to recount the end of the game. The Grizzlies are down by 40. Kolik's in there. White flags have been, everyone's waved a white flag. People are just streaming out of the exits. And I'm thinking to myself, I wonder if Verno's going to leave early.
I will say this. Hey, hold on.
I was like, I wonder if Verno is going to leave early because it was time to go. It's a 39-41 point game. And I was like, I wonder if Verno's going to leave early. And then Verno starts asking questions like, how do I get home? I was like, oh, you walk home. And he's like, is it safe? He's so concerned about walking 10 blocks in New York City. I was like, it's not really safe, but it's also not dangerous.
I got so high.
Anyone who lives in New York, the Times Square
Why does
area
everything smell like weed?
Is very marijuana-ish.
Why?
It's just people, because people go and hang out outside there. There's nothing to do.
It smells like weed everywhere.
And there's police everywhere, too. They do not care.
Is it that CBD crap or is it actual weed?
No, it's actual weed.
It smells like weed everywhere.
Everywhere. And that one stretch of the city that you were in is a very marijuana-heavy stretch.
All right, so I made one purchase at the game, and now every time I see it, I'm going to have this horrible memory.
What'd you get?
Of watching the Grizzlies lose by 40.
Yeah.
Here was my one purchase on video camera. There it is.
It is a plushie of Patrick Ewing.
I had to have it.
He looked at it and he was like, oh, no, I got to get that.
I have to have it.
He's like, I got to get that.
I mean, the widow's peak.
The widow's peak
the
hairline.
Sideburns,
and the
mustache.
The point-style sideburns is.
So this will be.
The only way it could look more like him is if it was sweating right now.
This will be my unfortunate reminder of the first time I ever went to Madison Square Garden and got the Knicks app.
Did you really take it off your phone?
And watch the Grizzlies lose by 40.
Did you really take it off your phone?
Huh?
Did you take it off the phone?
Oh, I'll never have that app. I'm never going to that.
I'll post the video when I post this pod.
Please don't.
Verno getting stuck outside with this look on his face, like he looked like he was about to turn cannibal. He was about to go like Mike Tyson and bite someone's ear off. It was absolutely fantastic.
I wasn't that. I was frustrated, but I'm not one of those that starts yelling at people. I just get frustrated and like, what am I supposed to do? I just want to get in.
You were not rude to anyone.
I just want to get in.
But you were fuming on the inside.
Oh, dying.
On the inside, you were fuming. It got to the point like 15 minutes later, you're still complaining about the Knicks app. I'm like, we're here. We're in our seats. We're watching the game.
This is the only thing I have to remember it by.